Welcome to another episode of dctbd, produced by One Love Massive. I'm your co-host, Ian Taronji. Joining me, as always, is the lovely Michelle Busch.
Hi.
Michelle.
Good evening, everybody.
Good evening to you. How are you?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's been that kind of day, but you know what? We are going to bring high energy,
Yes, absolutely.
positivity.
Yes. Well, you saw
this episode of DCTBD.
You saw my post earlier today. I was like, what positive, forward-thinking podcast are people listening to?
Yeah.
And I should have said ... You need to be listening to DCTBD.
Yeah, I was about to say I didn't have any positive.
No, you didn't have any positive
forward thinking.
No, neither did anybody else. Neither did anybody else.
I did not have a lot of positive.
No.
I did not have a lot of suggestions for you.
No.
I appreciate you reaching. I'm sure you got some though, didn't you?
Everybody, it was 3 responses.
Oh, jeez.
So somebody that is getting ready to start theirs January 1st,
Okay.
2019.
Doesn't do you any good right now.
Right. But congratulations to him on that. I think one that's Slow Burn that I've listened to before.
Is that the one about Watergate?
I thought it was the hip hop one. I don't know.
Whatever. Probably.
I was like, yeah, Watergate, because that's what I thought. And then there was another one on there. I was just like, and then after that, my phone was stolen at work today. So,
oh, well, that's pleasant.
That's always pleasant. As you're trying to help the wonderful consumers of the District of Columbia, they steal your property.
Yeah, well.
Yeah, wow.
Wah, wah, wah. Sorry, I'm just sharing this around so we can up our viewership from 2 to maybe 3.
I'm hitting for 11 to 15. Of course, I would.
11
Yeah.
viewers?
Yes.
11.
We've had 11 viewers. We've had up to 17.
I guess, yeah.
We're like that.
Probably on the night that I wasn't here.
No, it was the night that you were here.
Marcus Dowling, we are told, is en route. He had, I think, some kind of an issue at his mother's house, trying to repair some.
Can you picture Marcus K. Dowling?
Repairing anything?
Repairing anything?
I can, actually. I can.
Can you see him with the...
I have never seen it.
Can you see him with the suede James Evans tool belt on? Oh, he's going to kill me when he
my God.
When he runs this back and watches it. He's got a suede tool belt.
I got this tool belt from Neiman Marcus.
On loan.
Yeah, exactly.
On loan from Neiman's.
It would be remiss if we did not thank our crew behind the board,
Absolutely.
Mr. Nick.
We love production.
Mr. Nick,
and
Molly.
Molly. Poppin' Molly is the woman. Do you see this beautiful studio that we are in?
She is the queen bee. She is the one who has made all this happen.
Yeah.
And she is so appreciated because of her love of DC culture.
Yep.
And everything DC. She is so loved and appreciated.
Yeah.
And, we are so blessed and so fortunate to be here in this great environment. We get this opportunity because of One Love Massive, because we're DC natives who speak truth.
Yep.
And I guess Molly thinks that that's worthwhile. And so we are so appreciative, so appreciative of
we're in
the opportunity to have this weekly conversation. It's really something that I look forward to every week.
Yeah.
We didn't last week because it was Labor Day, and
and we deserve the day off.
Well, I'm sure Nick and Mike were,
relaxing somewhere.
Yeah, relaxing somewhere.
Yeah. Nick is like, thank you.
I hope lighting a spliff on a boat somewhere because it was hot.
Honey, palm trees and palm oil.
No doubt. But as you all know, this is DCTBD. We're your weekly conversation about the biggest news stories of the week. Really, we focus primarily on politics, but we'll talk maybe some Nicki Minaj and Cardi B tonight.
No, I said no. I said no. We're not going to talk about... I know Ian was so mad at me when I sent that text before my phone was stolen. So, of course, we go through our Monday morning. All right, here's the rundown. This is what we're going to do.
These are our topics. And we have to do it the day of.
And we have to do it the day of because something is always popping off with the government and everything else that's going on. And so, of course, the Nicki and Cardi. And I was just like, no. I don't want to talk about it because Cardi B is still the best and Nicki needs to go sit down somewhere. And even with the little lump on her head, and Mike, did you see the 125? Now I could not. So I sent Mike.
Well, let's get some background. We can't assume that everybody knows what we're talking about.
Okay, so we're gonna go over really quickly. So I will divulge from.
This is by the way, this is us not talking about Nicki and Cardi. Go ahead.
This is us not talking about Nicki and Cardi.
Go ahead, Michelle.
So it wasn't Tom Ford. Was it Tom Ford? It was some fashion icon event that was taking place.
There's something going on in Fashion Week.
Yeah.
That's where Nicki and Cardi
Yeah. So basically they were both invited, and their camps just basically got into a little bit of a yelling match and a little bit of a scuffle. TMZ really did not get the best footage of
terrible footage.
Terrible footage.
Lighting.
Footage.
No.
Just nothing. Nothing was right. Yeah. And so it pretty much was Cardi B upset. You know, you're going to stop talking about me. You're going to keep your name, my name out of your mouth. We have confronted each other. We've done this, we've done that, but you're still talking about me. And she was like, yeah, come at me like you were going to hit Travis. And so a shoe went flying, and then somebody got clocked in the head. And poor Cardi has a knot over her head. Yeah. And I just was not going to laugh about it because I have a little knot on my head, and it doesn't feel good. Yeah. And so, but Mike, who was a host a couple of weeks ago, had 125 comment post on. I
think he started it by saying, Cardi B is not here for this, not KNOT.
And KNOT.
And then it became a bunch of puns on that. So
shout
out to Machiavellian Mike.
Yes, Machiavellian Mike.
Funny. That was some funny shit.
I did text him, and I was like, okay, so if I was going to say something on the post, but I'm not because today's like a really bad day, this was not landing. And I was like,
oh, they already had that. Somebody already did
Somebody
that.
already took it. So
125 responses.
125 responses. Somebody was going to take it.
Somebody already dropped not landing.
But no, I mean, the reason why I just really didn't want to talk about it is because right now they're in the artistry of females and hip hop and the rap culture and just everything. Like, you need to let Cardi shine. Nicki, it's maybe time to sit down. Like your branding, the product that you're putting out is just it's just not that great anymore. It was a novelty when you first came out, and it's just grown to nothing.
Well, look, I would take slight issue. I don't think that Nicki Minaj is a novelty. I actually think she's a very skilled MC.
Take the novelty away from it.
That's not a novelty. And that's a skill. I mean,
I think she is talented.
Yeah.
I don't listen to her music.
Right. That's ultimately my issue with Nicki, is that I think she makes poor musical choices. Yeah. But I mean, it obviously, I'm not here to manage her career when I can barely figure out what's going on in mine.
Oh, please, let's not even talk about mine. But and then the thing it's so crazy.
But her skill as an MC, I think is very good. I actually probably would rate it higher than Cardi's.
I mean,
skill as an MC.
I get it.
Yeah,
I get it. Let Cardi shine. Cardi is doing great things. And then yesterday she posted her Tom Ford line with the makeup and everything, and it's just like, let her be her right now. But now that she is a mother and everything,
designer ice pack.
Yeah, designer ice pack.
So, all right, I'm gonna give the last word on Cardi and Nicki, which is
because we were not talking about this today.
Absolutely not talking about it. My last word about it is this: my wife and her two sisters. My wife is the oldest of three sisters, Guyanese family. They're all beautiful, like supermodel looking, and so they basically, when they were growing up, they had a rule during the fights: anything goes. Yep. Just don't touch the face.
Don't touch the face.
So somebody broke that rule.
Yes, they did.
So I don't know who it was.
Yes, they did.
My suggestion is this. I think if Nicki and Cardi are going to continue their beef, they need to do two things. One, observe the rules of engagement. Do not touch the face.
Correct.
Two, they should probably beef with bars instead of like throwing shoes at each other.
Yeah.
I mean, we saw Drake and Meek Mill came together on stage the other night. We can bridge the divides. We can heal the wounds that divide this country.
That's like silly.
through hip hop beefs.
That's like,
And honestly, I think if Nicki and Cardi would just come out with a couple of diss tracks, talk about all of their fake appendages and this and that. And
I mean,
who did your work? It's nowhere near as good as mine.
Well, clearly, the one work on one person is looking very horrible because Nicki. Okay, I'm sorry. We are not talking about.
We're not talking about this.
We're not talking about this.
We're not talking about this.
Let's talk about the other cheaters down there at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue.
We got a lot more to talk about.
Yes.
So let's just jump right into it here. Our first segment I titled "All of the President's Men
Yep.
Think He's an Idiot."
All of them, and I'm thinking that Giuliani thinks that he's an idiot too.
Yeah. So here's the deal, and I'm going to kind of get a little bit legal on you and talk about evidence. And the thing
y'all see me preparing myself for
the
this.
thing about evidence, yeah. Let's comport ourselves professionally here for just a minute.
Thank you, Your Honor. Go ahead.
You can have individual pieces of evidence, and when you have multiple pieces of evidence that say the same thing, it's not a question of, well, you have one piece of evidence that proves it, and then everything else is superfluous. You can have an accumulated weight of evidence, and I think we're in that place right now where we have a pretty unrefutable accumulation of evidence that the people who work in the White House with President Trump think he is an idiot.
They always
think he's an idiot. And you know why they think that? Do you know why they think that?
Why, Ian?
Because he's an idiot.
Because he's an idiot. But see, I get what I get what you're saying. It's like it's finally coming to. I guess you can say it's finally coming to a head. It's like.
Well, is it? Is anybody going to do anything about it?
That's my problem.
That's where we need to go.
That's where we're stuck.
We should probably back up and just like really quickly talk about what it is that's happened in the last week.
2 weeks.
Yeah, in the last couple of weeks, really. But my college classmate John Chait writes for the New Yorker, or I'm sorry, New York Magazine, and wrote a great article. From September 5th entitled "Trump Associates Keep Getting Misquoted, Questioning Intelligence of Very Stable Genius." What we've had, so Bob Woodward is releasing a book that is called, I believe, Fear. I knew it was an F word. I knew it was a 4-letter F word, but not that one.
Trump. Oh, I'm sorry.
Fear. And in this book, so it kind of follows the Woodward, I'm going to write a book about this presidency kind of like thing where he basically does all of his digging and then shows up at the press secretary's office and says, okay, I'm writing a book. I'd like total access to the West Wing and, give me 10 hours with the president. And usually the response to that is, you're crazy. And then he says, okay, so here's what I'm writing. Here's everything that I've dug up. Here's the volumes of materials that I have, the documents that have been given to me. Here, I have this, I have this, I have this, I have this, I have this. I can draw my own conclusions here, but I would certainly like to hear the president speak on this and why this happened and why he wrote this and why this was in an email and why this was done and why this and why that. Otherwise, I'll just put my own spin on it.
Right.
And inevitably what happens is they give Bob Woodward everything he wants, and he still writes a book that shits all over the administration.
Purely some of the quotes that I'm just like,
the quotes are remarkable. So just and the book is not even out yet, so we're just getting sort of excerpts and snippets. So what we have is a national security meeting, a National Security Council meeting, or some kind of meeting at the Pentagon in which Defense Secretary Jim Mattis is present. I think this might have been the meeting where Trump was like, let's just why are we fooling around with Assad? Let's just go assassinate this guy, Bashar al-Assad from Syria, who are in the middle of a civil war and they're backed by Russia, and it becomes. It's a lot easier than just sitting on your couch, with Fox News on mute saying, "Why are we fucking around with all this? Let's just go assassinate the guy."
Yeah.
So anyway, they get off the phone. They get off the phone, and Mattis is like, "Yeah, we're not doing that." And
but you said the key word, Russia.
Well,
let's remember, Russia is more than just Trump territory.
Right. But the funny thing is that the quotes that we're getting from people inside the administration, always anonymous quotes, even though a lot of them you can tell.
You can tell who it is.
They're not sitting there saying, I am really super concerned because I believe that he's compromised by the Russians. They're saying, we're super concerned because he doesn't read, he doesn't prepare, he doesn't understand complex issues, he doesn't think strategically, he won't think steps ahead, he just goes on gut instinct, and that's what he does. So I mean, but just to back up, so we also had the Michael Wolff, the Fire and Fury book. You know, we had Rex Tillerson was quoted in an article, I believe, in the New York Times as calling President Trump, and this is a quote, a fucking moron.
Yep. Oh, Rexy, baby.
Yeah. And I think,
remember, I keep asking every week, anybody talk to Rex?
And I think when they asked Rex about it, he's like, "Come on, that's ridiculous. I don't swear."
Right. That wasn't me. Who said that?
I would never have said the F word.
John
There have always been stories in the New York press that have been placed by Javanka, basically sort of letting the more liberal New York, their cadre of liberal New York friends, when you know her father is like the most right-wing radical president that we've ever had.
Yeah.
At least certainly since Nixon.
Woodrow Wilson?
They put it out in the New York press that, you know, they're the ones that are like stopping the worst instincts.
Oh,
and, you know,
God,
all this other
please
shit.
save it.
And then we had this anonymous New York Times op-ed that came out last week, basically saying that the president is clearly unfit.
Yep.
And there's a group, they call them like the resistance within the administration. The resistance within the administration. And they are supposedly curbing his worst instincts. So, Michelle, are you reassured that there is this cabal of shitheads in the administration who are supposedly curbing President Trump's worst instincts?
No. I just believe that this is just the next level of what's going to come out, the dipshittery of what comes out of the White House. If it's every week, if it's every other week, if it's we're not going to do a story on this, they've gone to that closed door meeting and they haven't been seen or heard from, you know, because we just kept saying for a couple of weeks, we have not heard from Jared and Ivanka. Where are they? What is going on? So I just believe that, you know, it's kind of maybe there's a little truth behind it. I mean, we know there's big truth behind it. And maybe there are really some concerned individuals that are working in the West Wing and everything. But honestly, I just think it's just the next ploy. It's the next ploy for him to throw a temper tantrum. And that's exactly, it's like bait and switch, but he is the one putting the bait on the line, or somebody's helping him put it on, because, you know, he's not that bright. He's bright, but he ain't that bright. So I you know, I'm just like, no, I just think it's just another ploy from the Trump administration and those that work in. It was like that article that somebody from the Trump administration put out about, oh, we can't find dates since we've been living here in D.C. and it's so hard to sit at the bar and talk to people in D.C. Wah, wah, wah. You know, how about you've lived here your whole life and, you know, you're involved with politics, and then you're just, you know, we're stuck with you too now.
How about this? How about DC is a city of smart people and we see through bullshit? So if you're garbage human being, which we will almost by definition, if you're working in the Trump administration, it's because you can't get work in legitimate GOP circles.
Correct.
I am not terribly reassured. I mean, look, I can see an argument that, you know, you have a president who's not been a politician before.
Right.
Look, I was a political science major, and I can tell you this. If they handed me the nuclear codes and started giving me daily briefings, like I would feel like I was drowning. Like I get that there's a lot that goes on with it, and every president, I think, has a learning experience, and the good presidents know what they don't know, and understand that there's a reason why you surround yourself with so many experts, because you cannot be the expert. You cannot understand the intricacies of whatever conflict is happening in Burundi, or you know, I mean, you can, but then inevitably, if you spend time on Burundi, then Pakistan's going to fall through the cracks.
Right. But
That's why you surround yourself with experts. You stock your administration with the best and the
Absolutely.
brightest people.
Absolutely.
And you listen to them.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that ultimately that's where this president failed.
He failed. He failed with
by not heeding good advice.
Yeah.
Or heeding it, but only reluctantly.
But does he have the best and the brightest around him? We already know that's a no.
Yeah.
And the thing about it is, you're talking about a president that's briefed every morning. This is a president that did not want to be briefed every morning.
He gets briefed by watching Fox and Friends every morning.
Right. And is he even still watching Fox and Friends right now?
Here's my other question.
Yes.
Supposedly, and going back to the anonymous New York Times op-ed, supposedly we have somebody or a group of individuals in the administration who are working to curb Trump's worst instincts. If they have curbed his worst instincts, like what is he proposing behind closed doors? Because this feels like a presidency run by the worst instincts of a trash human being.
Have you seen his campaign rallies that he's been doing in the past 2 weeks?
Like, what are these worst instincts that they're curbing? I mean, because nobody curbed child separation, migrant child separations.
No.
Nobody curbed, both sides were to blame for Charlottesville.
No.
Nobody curbed Helsinki and talking and his servile attitude and mentality towards Vladimir Putin. Those worst instincts weren't curbed. So which ones are?
I don't want to think about it because unfortunately it's just. I feel like his worst, and I mean we've seen bad, we've seen damaging, we've seen upsetting. I think his worst, and maybe this is what this is that his worst is going to push us into a war, not amongst borders, but truly amongst ourselves. We're already at war with ourselves.
It's like a Cold War.
But I just feel like it's almost to like just demolish cities, just to bring them down. And if there's something worse, I don't want to think about it. You have to. I mean, this is the reality that we live in.
Well, there is worse. There's always. I mean,
there's always worse.
We can look around the world and see worse. We can see where authoritarian tendencies can take even democracy.
Yeah,
look at Turkey. Turkey's a democracy.
Turkey is a democracy. His worst could be that
Erdogan is an authoritarian.
His worst could be that he drops a dime on something that Putin didn't want him to know about, and we're really at war. Like we're fucked.
So, and the big issue for me with all of these people speaking anonymously to reporters at the New York Times or the Washington Post or Bob Woodward or Michael Wolff or writing anonymous op-eds or, whispering to their friends about, listen, there's really a secret cabal of us trying to, curb the worst instincts. I mean, to me, what this is just a cynical abuse of power.
Yes.
Because you have people saying, yes, this man is patently unfit. He is temperamentally unfit.
Yep.
He doesn't know what he's doing. And he has the power to do things that are reckless and that can cause real damage. But, we're getting this great Supreme Court justice and all these tax cuts.
I'm sorry, we're getting what?
Deregulation. And, so it's like this is sort of like the choice that so many Republicans have made. And it's why, Quinnipiac, I'll have to look it up, but Quinnipiac had a poll today. And his approval ratings are down at 36, which is
in the bucket.
Very low, very, very low.
They're like the bottom of, are we almost at the bottom? It's like,
but among Republicans, he's got like a 90% approval rating, and it's startling.
I don't know why some of the Republicans, and not even some, like, why is the Republican Party, why is the GOP so afraid of Trump? Can you all just...
Because of his voters, because they need his voters to win their elections. That's it.
Even with all of this that's come out with the book, with the article.
None of that stuff moves the media.
No. And here's what's so funny. And I said that this was going to happen. Omarosa dropped a third tape and nobody even noticed it.
Yeah.
And I was just like, well, we knew that would happen. She could drop a whole mixtape. She could drop an EP. So?
Yeah, they don't care.
So,
So according to Quinnipiac, among Republicans, President Trump has an 84% approval rating versus a 7% disapproval rating.
I'd like
I'd
like to know the breakdown, and especially because as we looked at the numbers of who voted for Trump, I'd love to know the breakdown out of that 84% African Americans, Latino.
Zero, or damn close to it. I mean, this is just among Republicans. This 84% is among Republicans.
You got black Republicans out there.
Yeah.
Shout out to y'all. I see y'all. Hey, I fool with some of y'all, but you know, this is not that pro-choice thing.
I don't feel with any of y'all.
You know, I have been
Get
asked
with the fucking program.
You know, I have been asked,
Same with gay Republicans, Latino Republicans,
Yeah.
black Republicans.
Yeah.
Get with the program.
I have been asked, am I a Republican? And I'm just like, I'm pro-choice. So
Fucking.
let's just be real clear about that.
Mommies be dropping babies on their heads.
Oh.
Next thing you know, you got black Republicans.
Ian gets close to the line every time, y'all. Every time Marcus is not here to
I know how to walk right up to that line.
He goes right up to that line and just turns around. He'll look over a little
look
bit.
over into the abyss.
Look at the little fishy.
But I always step back. I always step back.
But this is why we have this. This is the reason why DCTB. Oh God, I can't even get it out tonight. DCTBD is the way that it is because we have to have some real, truthful, honest conversations.
Yeah, we do.
About
shit is fucked up and bullshit right now. We need truth. We need to hear truth.
We're gonna,
people need to hear truth, even if it's uncomfortable. Like
it's so very uncomfortable. It's very uncomfortable when we talk about immigration. Hell, I mean, really, when we talk about Trump, we talk about DC politics. I know it's very uncomfortable. I mean, I have some friends out there like, Michelle, I heard what you said on your little podcast. But I'm like, okay, I'm telling the truth.
Standing by.
Okay,
every word of DCTBD.
If I'm wrong, you are welcome on the show to tell me I'm wrong.
Yeah.
But guess who's sitting in this chair, and we're going to debate it back and forth. So just is what it is. I think
you don't even have to. People can take issue. Look, not everyone's going to agree, and that's fine.
Not everybody's going to agree, especially when Marcus says that Kanye West is going to be the president.
John Legend just said that he thinks Kanye West is going to run.
It's 2020, but now it's 2024.
But he didn't say as a Republican. Marcus
thinks
that he's going to run as a Republican.
As a Republican.
I don't know that I agree with that, but then again, I have disagreed with Marcus before on
many of things,
other things that he has turned out to be prescient far more than me.
Right, and speaking of Mr. West, now we talked about this. Miss Mrs. West, has now enrolled in law school. When the hell did she go to college?
Good for her, because I'll tell you this is a total aside, because I am a lawyer. I've been practicing for 18 years.
I'm still on when did she go to college? She went to college?
Here's the deal.
All right.
So
I'm going to law school too next year.
I'm going to then this is for you, because I get people all the time, and they're like, "Oh, you're a lawyer." Yeah, I'm thinking about going to law school, or I just got accepted to law school, or I'm just, I'm halfway through my first year of law school, and then I'm always just like,
he does the Michelle head. No, Ian learned that from me,
and I have to sometimes kind of like, again, I'm a truth speaker, and
right.
I'm not here for your feelings. I'm here to tell you truth, whether you like it or not. And law school is, for most people, it's a terrible investment.
Yep.
A terrible, terrible investment.
Yep.
Now, Kim Kardashian falls under one of my exceptions, where it's actually can be a good thing for her.
Okay.
Because she's independently wealthy and she can pay for it without having to take out student loans.
Right.
And rely on practicing law as a career in order to pay back said student loans. But she doesn't have to rely on any of that.
Right.
And if you don't have to rely on that, it's a wonderful education. You learn so much stuff. It shapes the way you think about and process so much information in every field and endeavor. Every field and endeavor, there can be a legal aspect to it. And even when you're not even thinking about the law, it's a disciplined way of thinking through problems and analyzing problems and trying to develop solutions. Like it's a wonderful academic exercise. It's a terrible business investment in your career.
Right.
If you are in the position of having to take out student loans and then having to work as a lawyer in order to pay back said student loans.
Right.
For several reasons. One, colleges and law schools especially have become so much more expensive over the last 10 years, 10, 20 years. I mean, when I went to law school, it was less than $10,000 a year. Yeah. So my student loans are much less, a lot of people coming out of my own law school right now with, paying $30,000 a year.
Yeah.
That's not a solid investment because there aren't that many. There's more law graduates every year than there are jobs for them.
Correct.
So that means the ones that do find jobs are working for lower pay.
Yeah.
And also your first few years working as a lawyer are like the most soul crushing total drudgery of like doing document reviews or researching discrete issues.
Yeah.
I once spent 40 hours researching and writing up an issue that ended up being a footnote in like a 130-page brief.
Good gracious.
40 hours I spent on that and build the client for it.
That's why I want to go into fashion.
So again, we went off on a total tangent there. I would recommend to you avoid law school like the plague.
Oh, God, I
Kim
am.
Kardashian.
I am.
She's wealthy. She doesn't need to pay back student loans. She can go.
This is the thing. We talked about this when Kim was the advocate for the woman that she got out of prison.
Right.
We talked about this on the show. We said, what is her motivation now? Will she begin to turn and become more like her father and step away from, what her mother has been doing for so many years?
She could be a very effective advocate for criminal justice reform, but I also.
She's got
I haven't heard.
She's got a stigma.
I haven't heard her. I haven't heard her speak knowledgeably on the subject.
No.
Beyond this one case that she took a personal interest in, and that's wonderful. That's wonderful that she took. I mean, and look, anybody who is behind bars wrongfully, or is behind bars because of shitty drug laws, or is behind bars because eyewitness testimony that is almost at this point considered to be inherently unreliable.
Right.
Anybody who's in that situation, anything that's done to get them out is a good thing. And so I give Kim Kardashian 100% plaudits for the interest that she took in that case, the actions that she took. She parlayed her influence and her knowing people into a good outcome. I would like to see her advocate more on behalf of criminal justice reform and maybe come out in favor of some of these and assist financially some of these people running for district attorneys in various cities who are running on platforms of criminal justice reform, running on platforms of functionally marijuana decriminalization.
Correct.
The new district attorney in Philadelphia, and his name unfortunately escapes me, but he is somebody who basically he has told his department, we're not prosecuting marijuana offenses. It's not about how much weight it is. It's not about how many grams. It's like, we're not prosecuting it.
Yeah.
We're not wasting time.
It's low level.
We're not wasting time. This is bullshit.
Yeah. Well, if she's going to do
cash bail is another big issue.
Oh, that's
when
huge.
It comes to criminal justice reform. And look, I mean, as somebody who spends an inordinate amount of time in and around courthouses and courtrooms, there can be no question that there's racial disparities in the way justice is administered in this country.
Well, if she's going to do it,
anybody who says otherwise doesn't know. Right.
So if she's going to do it well. Will I look forward to hearing her after her first year of law school? Maybe. We'll see.
We'll see.
Yeah,
we'll see.
We'll see. I did not want to talk about freaking Nicki Minaj, Cardi B, or Kim Kardashian tonight,
or Kanye,
or that dipshittery.
Yeah.
But here we go talking about Nicki, Cardi,
Yeah. Well,
Kim,
we're gonna
Kanye.
we're gonna move on a little bit
All right.
now and talk about a different topic. So, as we all know by now, Nike came out with its advertisement. It's just, I believe it's the 30th anniversary of their Just Do It campaign.
Yes.
And the spokesman for said campaign is one Colin Kaepernick. Let me just say.
Shout out to the Noops.
Let me just say, Colin Kaepernick, in this ad, in a black turtleneck.
Yes.
And the camel hair coat.
Yes.
And the fro.
Yes.
On point.
On point.
On point.
On point. Colin
My man looks like Shaft.
Colin is a beast. He is a beast because he is basically a silent assassin. His name brings hatred to the lips of many people. His name brings joy and laughter to many people. Mm-hmm. And Nike, you are just smart and brilliant. And I don't think it was just Nike. I think he had a lot to do with it. I think they sat in a room and they were like, so what do we do? How do we hoodwink and bamboozle the NFL and pay you your salary? Like, that was just fucking brilliant. And that just shows that we can come together and do so much with what just this simple protest. And I don't want to say simple like I'm degrading it or lowering it, because it's not what it is.
Mm-hmm. Right.
But it's just it's more than just the inhumane ways that we have dealt with police brutality. It's dealing with the medical, the mental health, the domestic violence, all the reasons why I'm protesting the NFL. Mm-hmm. Although I did get a glimpse of the comeback last night from the Green Bay Packers.
Come on.
Good Jesus.
Fuck's sake.
Anyway, I don't even know who plays for these teams, so I couldn't name the quarterbacks or nothing.
For those who don't know, I'm born in D.C., but I grew up outside Chicago, so I'm a Skins and a Bears fan. And fuck Aaron Rodgers.
Okay. He's angry this evening, y'all. He's angry. We did not get to have our cold brew. We couldn't figure it out, so Ian's a little testy this evening.
Listen,
but
the whole point of being here at the Mind Space is to get this. They have like this dope cold brew on tap,
and we couldn't figure out how to do. We are up there. There's an event that just let out. We look so stupid. We're trying to get a cup. We're trying to figure out, is this it? No, that's the water. Is this it? No, that's the hot coffee.
Water. That's the hot water.
I don't want that. So then the guy is like, no, it's over there. We go over there and we're like, how the fuck does this work?
And everybody's dressed up in suits. It was like some former Obama staffers who wrote a book and we're giving like a panel discussion, and here I am in my like ratty ass Captain America t-shirt.
Please, honey, I'm in my my rainbow special this evening, rainbow from Heck and Jamal. So I know they were looking at me like, who is this crazy lady? So you know, it's just Nike. It's just amazing. Now the memes to follow. Y'all should just stop.
Yeah, they should have stopped like probably 72 hours ago, but
they should have stopped. They should have stopped. I see, and that was my fault messing up, because I saw the one for Pootie Tang that was on there. Oh God, it was terrible. Oh there was one of Stevie Wonder, and it was in Braille, and I'm just like, oh, this has to stop.
Man,
but I get it. I get it. You know, we're just in that, and we're in that era that just, you know, you take it and run with it. You know, you look at it and say, you know what, that's just celebrating what has come out. Yeah. But, you know, how we're in such, Donald Trump has us, and I don't even think Donald Trump, I mean, it is the fact that we did elect our first African-American president, and the racism just has always been around, but it just really it was the slow boil. Once Trump became president, it was the high boil. You're boiling your macaroni and cheese and the noodles, And now, I mean, you have this idiot that has on a pair of Nikes and sets his shoes on fire while he's in his damn shoes. Really, dude? Guess what? Nike already got the money because you paid for the shoes. So your protest is a little stupid. Now you've got third-degree burns over your feet. And you've got to now come out of your pocket for your insurance.
I hope he has Obamacare.
I hope you have Obamacare. To pay for your hospitalization. And now you're going to have to go through treatment and therapy because you tried to burn up your little pig feet.
Listen, this is, I mean, there's a lot of
dumb shit.
Obviously, a lot of conservative backlash to Nike's decision to have Colin Kaepernick as their spokesperson, and Nike's response to this conservative backlash has been basically, meh.
We don't care.
Fuck you. We don't care.
We're Nike.
Yeah, because
Okay.
Nike is not. Nike is not. They're happy to take your money if you live in Dubuque, Iowa.
Yep.
But Nike's not marketing to Dubuque, Iowa. Nike's marketing to Tokyo and New York and LA
And they love
DC
Colin
and
Kaepernick.
Paris and London and
Yeah.
Stockholm and Nairobi and Lagos and Rio. That is where Nike sees its growth potential. And and also, let's also not forget, Nike has relationships with athletes.
Yes. Big relationships with athletes. Let's talk
Most
about
of these athletes.
Let's talk about
are
the most
African American.
Yeah, the most celebrated and decorated athlete who has his own signature, his own brand, his own. And we were talking about Michael Jordan,
Michael Jordan, LeBron James, Serena Williams,
Tiger Woods still has multi-million dollar.
Pretty much one of the top 2 or 3 players in any sports league around the world is going to be probably wearing
Nike
gear.
Yeah.
So, I think Nike, it's pretty clear Nike, let's not paint Nike as like an altruistic, organization. They are a massive multinational corporation with a huge market share. I mean, probably, I gotta believe they're a top 10, top 20 global brand.
Yeah.
In the world.
I mean, they're a beyond brand.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're beyond.
In market cap, probably top 20. In brand recognition, probably top 5.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Top 2.
Because I won't
Maybe
say not 2 because right now, you're talking about Apple, Amazon.
Well,
They're
but
still
that's market cap. I'm talking about like the actual
the brand
logo
itself?
and the brand.
I would say somewhere in the top 10. I would say
it's probably 1 or 2. Maybe Coca-Cola.
Coca-Cola is
number
definitely
1, and probably Nike number 2 globally. Global brand recognition. Apple's top 5.
Yeah, Apple is definitely top 5.
Samsung's definitely probably top 10, but
yeah,
I gotta believe Nike.
Nike's
the
somewhere.
Swoosh, the swoosh is one of
Nike's
the
like
most
5. I say
recognizable.
5, 6. So that's why I say top 10. Yeah, but they're definitely they're not 8, 9, or 10.
No,
you're talking like 5, 6, 7.
I'm not sure that I could find 4 or 5 more recognizable brands, but I mean,
yeah.
Bottom line is, it's a huge. They're a huge global brand.
Yeah,
so,
they're beyond a brand.
So if you're pissed off white guy in middle America who's because your kids are all wearing Nike, and then all of a sudden, what, Kaepernick, what, I protest, I'm boycotting. Nike's response is basically the double bird.
Yeah, you already bought the shoe. Thanks.
You bought the shoes. Thanks. You don't want to buy any more.
Appreciate it.
Fine. Nike's global strategy is I was listening to Vox's The Weeds podcast, and they were talking about this issue, and they had on one of their writers, and I'm apologizing to the good people at Vox Media because I cannot recall her name, but she was discussing Nike's sort of like global branding strategy, and they're looking for Henrys.
Yeah.
Henrys,
and that's Vox, everybody. VOX.
yes.
All of us post Vox articles kind of often. That is not Fox. We do not support.
Not Fox, Vox. V as in victory.
V as in Victor.
So Nike's global strategy is that they're looking for what are called Henrys. They're high high earning, not rich yet.
Yes.
Henry.
Henry.
So basically people, and we see them here in DC, people who make six figures,
Yeah.
but they're not rich. They're usually younger in professional settings. They usually live in the urban environment. And like I was just spouting off the cities that they sort of focus on, you know, New York, Tokyo, Madrid,
Right. Dubai.
LA. You know, so they're, yeah, so Steve in Iowa, don't burn your shoes. You're not going to get anybody's attention at Nike, and all you're going to do is you're going to have burned shoes.
You're going to have burnt up shoesies.
So, but
yeah.
Also, like I said, Nike is a multinational corporation. They care about their shareholders and their return on investment. So let's not paint them as like the altruistic people that they are. Nike has done a lot of problematic stuff. Their overseas labor situation is problematic, but they could have the overseas labor situation, basically child slave labor, and not be supporting Colin Kaepernick.
Correct.
So the fact that we have a company that has problematic labor situations and they're supporting Colin Kaepernick, you know, it's better than it could be.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I'm happy for Colin Kaepernick. The man has sacrificed his NFL career for his principles. You know, people can shit on him all they like, and guess what? You know who they shit on at the same, you know, they did the exact same thing to Muhammad Ali.
Yes, they did.
When he refused to be inducted into the armed forces to serve in Vietnam.
Yep.
And he took the punishment. He turned himself into the police. He was prosecuted. He was convicted. And he took his conviction to the appeals court, then ultimately to the Supreme Court, where he won a 9-0 decision, reversing his conviction. And only then did he get back into the fight game, and he lost 3 or 4 years during what should have been his peak. I mean, that's always my argument when people talk about, you know, who's the greatest fighter. I mean, I think it's Ali, and I think when you look at the record, you have to realize that probably it's 25% less than what it could have been.
Oh, of course.
Had he continued fighting.
Right.
In all those years. Right. And people said the same thing about Muhammad Ali in 68 and 69 and 70 that they say about Colin Kaepernick today.
That we're saying today.
And, you know, guess what? Muhammad Ali is an icon. He's a civil rights icon. He's a sports icon. He's a civil rights icon.
The greatest.
And I think that Colin Kaepernick will go down the same way.
Absolutely.
He sacrificed his peak playing years for principle.
And the man is still in shape. He still works out. He's still ready. Well, if somebody says,
you see some of the bums flinging the ball around on Sundays.
They are bums.
And
pure. I was like, is that Marcus?
you see some of the bums flinging balls around on Sunday, and you realize that Kaepernick is being colluded against.
I heard that the Washington team won yesterday.
Well, that would be the Redskins. Yeah, they did. They did.
Yeah.
They did.
Good,
they played well. They played well.
The
defense looked good. Alex Smith looked like a real quarterback. It's almost enough to make me dig my RG3 jersey out of the back of my closet.
Thank you for joining us for DC-TBD this evening. I am going to sign off now because he's just talking pure dipshittery. What? Who are these letters that you're... No, thank you so much. We'll see you on Monday. Who? Are you joking me? That piece of... Okay, I'm sorry. I digress. NFL boycott. You won't catch me.
There was a time when RG3 looked like a surefire future Hall of Famer.
There was a time
that
he...
like 10 weeks.
There was
10 weeks there where he looked like the greatest player in the world.
Excuse me, church members. Bullshit. There was a time that he looked like nothing. There was a time that Daniel Snyder and the rest of that damn team should have never picked him, an injured player out of college, to be our damn quarterback. Oh, I'm sorry. I've digressed.
There was 10 weeks there where he looked like the best player in football.
The hell he didn't. He looked greasy. Anyway. But speaking of people,
haterade is flowing.
You're damn right. But let's
flowing.
The next topic about the greatest athlete of the weekend and of the world.
Listen, there's a great argument to be made for Serena Williams being the greatest athlete of our generation. And my generation's included Michael Jordan, LeBron
Yeah, me
James,
too.
Kobe Bryant,
Me too. Me too.
Barry Sanders,
Me too. Yeah.
Tom Brady.
Double Barry. Double Barry. Yeah.
So I think there's a strong argument to be made that Serena Williams is the greatest athlete that we have going. Tiger Woods. I mean, we've been blessed. I mean, if you're a sports fan, you of approximately my age, which is probably, if you're watching this, it's older than you. In my lifetime, I've been blessed to see so many greats in all different sports, all different sports. I mean, people who've really changed the game. I mean, Alex Ovechkin,
Yep.
Sidney Crosby, you like him or dislike him, but I mean, these are players who brought something different to their sports. And Serena, I think the same, but it didn't quite go her way.
And I don't even think it was about. So shout out to everybody that came down to 8th Street. We did a little party
To watch the match.
to watch the match.
Awesome,
We
awesome.
did it at.
My invite must have gotten.
No, I
lost
put
in
it
the
out. I
mail.
put it out there. Everybody was invited. Oh hush. Event Solutions DC.
I expect an invitation mailed to my house with a stamp,
No,
handwritten.
That was not going to happen after my week last week. But we went down to the Haymaker on 8th Street. Shout out to them. Maybe we can get some sponsorship.
Can
from
we
them.
get? Can we roll some sponsorships?
Yeah, we're gonna work on sponsorship with them. And so he opened up early for us.
We'll do the show there.
Yeah, we could do the show there.
You can tell them we have like one viewer.
Yeah. Hey, one
wait a
viewer.
second.
That's you.
That's me.
That's you. That's terrible. I don't have my phone because we would definitely have more.
If you had your phone,
If
we would
I had-
double our numbers.
We would double our numbers. We'd be up to a whole 2. But we went down there to watch the match, and I mean it was great because the bar opens up early, but everybody just started swarming it, zoom, and we're focused, and we're
More focused than Serena was.
at the time it was like, of course you want Serena to win, but it's like, you know what? I just want to see great tennis.
Yeah.
That was me. I wanted to see great tennis. If Serena won, Serena won. If Naomi won, Naomi won.
Yeah.
I was fine. But then it started to get technical, and something just wasn't right, but you could feel it. And something just wasn't right to me, and I guess to everybody else, and definitely to Serena, because that's when she was just like, "You got to be joking me. You're looking at points flying off the board, penalty."
So let's give some background here. If someone's listening who was under a rock all weekend,
You literally had to be on a desert somewhere.
Serena is in the second set of the U.S. Open Women's Final on Saturday evening. She's lost the first set to Naomi Osaka.
Osaka.
Yeah, I believe that's right.
I'm not going to mess up her last name.
Yeah, I believe it's Naomi Osaka.
She is Haitian and Japanese.
That's right.
Yes.
And good.
And good.
Really fucking good.
She's good.
Because Serena could not overpower her. I mean, that's usually Serena's game. She's
Yeah.
going to overpower you.
She got her a couple times.
She got her a couple times,
But
not as many as Naomi got Serena.
No.
So then in the second set, there was an issue in which she got a warning because she was being coached from her coach in the box. And if you can kind of see the video where the coach is like,
get in the box.
he's frustrated watching because Serena's losing. She lost the first set, and they're going back and forth in the second set. And he's, kind of like, I can see what the guy is doing because he's probably you work with somebody every day, and you're just kind of like, no, do this. And he's like, kind of basically saying like, serve it down the middle like this. And so the umpire took umbrage and gave her a warning.
Right.
And
and let's remember, this is not the first time that this umpire has said something to Serena. Now, let's also remember where her coach was, where she was. Coach is over here. Serena is over here.
Yeah. I mean,
they are far apart. And it's almost like when you look, it's almost like he's talking to Venus. Because Venus is kind of sitting up. And it's just like what you said. It's like, come on, what are you doing? Get in the pocket.
Yeah.
Not Serena, look at me and look at getting right here because this is the way that I'm telling you to. No.
Coaching
No.
is like it's like a completed pass in the NFL. You got to have somebody throwing it and you got to have somebody catching it.
Right.
And if either of those two things doesn't happen, you don't have a reception.
Right.
And with tennis coaching, you've got to have the guy giving the coaching and then somebody receiving. And I have to believe Serena, if you're a professional athlete, you have mastered the art of tuning out all of the noise and just focusing on what is happening between the lines. Like, I am sure that Serena was not looking up in the box and being like, oh, shit, yeah, good idea. I should just serve it right down the middle.
Yeah, I mean, you can't. First of all, you're a tennis player. You can't do that.
Serena is locked in on what she's doing. She's locked in on her next point, on her next ground stroke, whatever, her next serve, whatever. That was silly. So then later on, she gets very frustrated and she smashed her racket on the court. And that's a no-no in tennis. And so she got a second penalty, and that resulted, those two penalties resulted in basically Naomi starting the next game at 15-love.
Right.
Without having played a point.
Advantage.
So basically gave Naomi a game, and if I'm not mistaken, I think the second set was 3-3 at that point, or 4-3.
It was, and
so
then it went up,
close.
and it went up to 5.
Still, and look, Serena has had sometimes problems in first sets where she loses first sets and then kind of turns it back on, and a lot of times she relies on her physical strength. To overpower and overmatch opponents. And a lot of times when you do that, you may be losing some of the finesse points when it's high energy first set, but then as it goes on and you can wear an opponent down physically.
Right. She wasn't wearing Naomi down.
She was not wearing Naomi down. No. Naomi was answering it back. And I mean, Naomi, when you saw them standing next to each other, I mean, Naomi's she's a
tall girl.
She's a big, strong girl.
Yeah.
She is a big, strong girl, and she was not being physically overmatched. No. So it was obviously frustrating to Serena. Serena, I think, was expecting the storybook ending of, coming back after giving birth to her, to her child, and winning the U.S. Open in New York, her national championship.
Yeah.
It was the storybook ending, and it wasn't happening for her. She was frustrated. She was very frustrated. And so when she lost the point, then she went off on the ump. And look,
I believe that was coming, though. I believe that was coming from the first thing with the coaching, because like she says, that's the title of our show. I don't cheat to win.
Yeah, and I don't believe that she was cheating, and I don't blame her for being upset.
And she had it because, and I explained this the other day, and not to cut you off at all, but I want
to hear your take.
It royally pissed me off because I look at Serena and I look at just women of color, women, period. This woman, you took her number one seed away because she had a baby. You've now told her she can't wear a bodysuit that was made by Nike to basically keep her safe while she's playing. You've basically said it's inappropriate. It's this, that, and the third. Have you come to Serena before and said, you're cheating? Absolutely. Stop being coached. You're cheating. But you've allowed everybody else that's not a brown, a round, a bold type of tennis player. No. And so what happened on that court was inevitably going to happen. I hate the fact that it happened, but it was going to happen, and it needed to happen, and it needed to be seen in front of, because, you could just come up with the article and say, oh, well, the French Open has banned Serena from wearing it. But wait a minute, but why? No, so this weekend we physically saw the racism. This weekend we physically saw the sexism. We saw it all right then and there. The part that I take away from it is that this match, when they started with the first penalty, you took away Naomi's chance of winning this on her own. She was going to win. Let's just be very clear. Anybody that watched that game and understood, the power moves and how Serena was being dominated, Naomi was going to win this match.
Probably, in all likelihood, yeah.
Yeah.
I think, yeah, without question.
Yeah.
Without question.
But let Naomi win it. She did not win it in the sense of two tennis players were playing fair tennis against each other. With no barriers, with nothing in the way to conform or to I can't think of the word, to box them in.
See, but I'm gonna
disagree on
I'm gonna disagree. I'm gonna disagree slightly.
Okay, that's
because
fine.
I think that absolves Serena of her responsibility. Look.
She's paying a $17,000 fine. That's chump change to her. She's gonna pay it.
I mean, the fine is nothing.
The fine
she's upset because she feels like she was gonna get back into the match and then it was taken away from her. But one, she did yell at the ump. She did verbally abuse the ump. I've heard a lot of people say, well, when men do this, they don't get penalized, and it's like, look, this is not something that happens very often. I don't know of very many male tennis players who berate the umpire. McEnroe.
I was gonna say the era of McEnroe.
The rule may well have been.
I wonder, did Arthur Ashe ever have any? Kind of. Are you joking me?
Doubt
moments
very much that Arthur Ashe got into it with an umpire.
Andre Agassi.
Never heard Agassi
Nader.
Get in.
We've seen some stuff, and I mean, not even just the clips that they've kind of put together to say, oh, look at the history of tennis and everything.
It doesn't happen very often, and it is a rule. She violated the rules.
But was it coming and then she violated? Because she just didn't jump out there and start yelling for no dang.
Well, she started yelling. She started yelling because she had the point taken away. And she went back to the whole thing. I wasn't being coached. That's ridiculous. And then she started calling him a thief. And look, I can concede that she has a reason to be upset. I can concede that she has a reason to be upset. But you are a professional tennis player. You are a professional athlete. First of all, any professional athlete, any championship athlete, and Serena knows this certainly better than me and better than anybody.
Yeah.
Any championship athlete has to be able to overcome adversity mentally and physically.
LeBron James, every time he has a temper tantrum on the court. Okay.
I mean,
temper tantrums. Full out.
Yeah, look, I think NBA refs are far too compliant, or far too pliant with NBA players, giving them the business. I mean, if I'm an ump, I'm kind of like, all right, I've let you say your piece. If I hear another fucking word, you're out. You've said your piece. I listened and I gave you that respect, and now you're done.
Yeah.
And now we move forward. We're not talking about the past anymore. I heard you. I heard you, and I think that's what the umpire should have said. I think he should have said, Ms. Williams, I've heard you. I have heard your complaint. I have made my rulings. Let's play the next point because I don't want to have to take a game away from you. That's probably how he should have. I'm not giving that ump.
But he did
credit. No, he obviously
because that ump is like, damn it, I done did it again, and she
violated the rules. I mean, I get where she's coming from, but she violated the rules. And she did not suffer consequences that are not specified in the rules. Those consequences are specified in the rules. As a professional athlete, one, just to give yourself, from a competitive standpoint, the best chance to come back in this match, you've got to be able to just let the past go. It's the cornerback in the NFL. You got to have a short memory because you're going to get beat by receivers, and you got to be able to line up in the next play. Just because you gave up a 45-yard pass play on the next play, you got to line up against that receiver again on first down.
Sounds like you're still mad about last night's game. I'm just like, I'm just playing. Did y'all notice that?
My day was going so well.
He was just real aggressive about the 45 and the...
My day was going so well yesterday. Like I had the Redskins, won in dominating fashion. That made me happy. And then I'm watching the Bears against the Packers. And anyone who knows, anyone who knows me knows I'm the type of sports fan. Not only do I love my team, I hate my team's rivals. I hate the Cowboys. I hate the Eagles. I hate the Giants. I hate the Packers. I hate the Vikings. I hate Ohio State and Michigan State and Notre Dame. All the teams that I love my teams, and I hate my team's rivals. So, like,
all right,
here we are in the first half, and the Bears are just kicking the hell out of the Packers. And
all of a sudden, they woke up. Okay. Shout out to Bethune-Cookman this weekend. My best friend, Jamise, her son plays for Bethune, and they just like killer crushed.
Who'd they beat?
They were playing some team. I don't even remember. I just looked at the score and was like, "Oh, Little Harp did really well."
What's your friend's son's name?
He is AJ Harper.
AJ Harper for Bethune-Cookman.
Yeah.
Shout out.
I'm not going to say who his daddy is. I'll tell you off air. Tell you off air.
Why, are you afraid he's going to find out?
No. I just, I like to keep my friends' business.
Fair enough.
Friends'
We're not
business, but we're
not here to discuss the business of people we actually know.
No, absolutely not.
Just Nikki and Cardi.
I know. Oh God, I'm so glad I don't know them. But I get, and I knew that this was going to be. That's why I wanted to scratch Nikki and Cardi off of. As I say their names again, off of the list, because I thought that the conversation in regards to Serena Williams, it needed to happen. Yeah. Because you saw the post, we all watched it. We all watched it, and you knew that there were going to be so many opinions about it. And that's why we had to have the conversation. Mm-hmm. Marcus, we're missing you on this conversation, and maybe we'll pinpoint back to it. Nope, next week.
He's missing out on it.
No, you're missing it. Sorry, Marcus. Love you.
It's going to be all new shit
new shit next week. And it's just,
Maybe we'll talk Nikki and Cardi.
So I'm going to go find some lunch somewhere and not be on that. I'm going to go find my cold brew when y'all decide to have that conversation.
Yeah.
But,
I want to take another stab at that cold brew before we leave.
Yeah, definitely. I wish the best for both players. I enjoy watching both players.
It was sad
play, but
I was
really was
very sad when they were giving when they
it was hard.
did the presentation.
It was hard.
And the crowd was booing, and I was just
just hard.
I mean, like for me, in these sports with individuals where they're not teams, like golf, you don't get that invested in the individual. What you want to see is good tennis or good golf,
But Serena has
and Naomi played great tennis that night. She had played great tennis throughout the tournament. She's 20 years old. She looks like she's very telegenic, and I hope that there's a bright future for her. But here she is, having won the U.S. Open, her first major. She's 20 years old. She just defeated her idol, the woman that she grew up watching and idolizing. But I think, and then the crowd in New York is booing. It's like, come on, New York, do better, be better.
Well, that
was terrible. She deserved her moment.
She deserved her moment, but she also knew that her moment didn't come because two tennis players physically played each other.
Well, they did though. They did.
But
she beat Serena.
But there were other things that happened. There were other things that happened during that match. If this had been a fair match,
she needed 12 games to beat Serena Williams. Yeah. She had already won 9 of those games when all of this shit happened. She was beating Serena, just like you said. It was a fair fight, and she won it fair and square. What I'm upset about is that her moment of celebration, of triumph, was ruined by assholes booing. Like, I get it.
I get
why people are upset. I get why people are upset.
And I understand why you're saying it was ruined and everything. But
she was crying. She was in tears.
She was in tears, but she's still also a very gracious young lady, because when I forgot what's his name started asking her questions, she was like, "I'm not going to answer that because what you all have done this evening is not right." And whatever she said, and she was just like, "This has just been taken away, and this was not fair for my idol."
And props to Serena for saying, when she's up on the stand on the dais, basically saying, look, I don't want to talk about that. We should focus on the champion. Naomi's a champion, and she played like a champion tonight. And I'm paraphrasing. Obviously, this isn't all
no.
But that's basically what she said.
It was
and that was good. That was good. And when she heard the booing and she saw that Naomi was crying, Serena put her arm around her.
Oh,
that was the right thing to do. I think in that moment, Serena handled it gracefully.
She handled it gracefully from the court to the stand.
I wish Serena had handled it differently
while she was playing
in the moment.
I get it. I get it.
I can even concede why she was upset. I can concede why she was angry. I can concede that this umpire was being an asshole, being a jerk. But you're playing for the U.S. Open Championship. If you're going to give yourself a chance to come back in that match and give yourself a chance to win,
right,
you've got to put everything behind and focus on the next.
I get it.
On the next point. And Serena let it get to her, and for somebody who is, look, she's going to go down in history. I think as the greatest tennis player, male or female, to ever pick up the racket. She's won far more than any of us. She's
her name her name is all over that.
Yeah.
That trophy.
All over every major trophy.
Right.
Over every major trophy.
Did you see the tweet from Billie Jean King?
Yeah.
Yeah.
When a woman is emotional, she's hysterical and she's penalized for it. When a man does the same, he's outspoken and there are no repercussions. I feel like there's a lot of assumptions that go on here, and maybe somebody and maybe it's been done and I just haven't. It hasn't hit my Twitter feed yet.
But woke since '84.
But at woke since '84. But there seems to be this assumption that like this wouldn't happen with a man. That I mean, the penalties are in the books. First of all, like I said before, I think it's a rare occurrence to have a player mid-match be going off on an umpire. Like days of John McEnroe, that's just maybe and every once in a while.
John would come out of the locker room on fire.
But that was 1983.
Yeah,
I mean that's 30 years ago. Like the rule was probably. I don't know this for a fact, but the rule was probably instituted because of McEnroe. But you just have to know better in that situation. You have to know better in that situation, I believe. And again, I'm not taking anything away from Serena being upset.
Right.
I think I think it was deserved. I think it was bullshit. You don't call that coaching. That's terrible. That's terrible because basically then you're basically telling the coach that yes, you can be in the stadium with your protege, you can be there, but you must stay silent throughout. You cannot gesticulate in any way. It's a little bit ridiculous.
Yeah, there was frustration on one side, and it's just I hate that it happened, but you know what? It happened. We saw it, and now it's time to
the U.S. Open Women's Final, Naomi Osaka.
Yeah.
Champion. That's really all we should be focused on.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, we're not, but that's why we're here on dctbd.
That's why we're here.
So we can talk shit. So we're down to that time of the week, that beautiful, beautiful time of the week.
Yes.
Where we talk about my favorite thing that I saw this week.
Yes.
You want me to go first, or do you want to go first?
I don't know. Like I saw a couple of my favorite things this
all right,
week.
well.
I guess we'll talk about last night. So
by all means, yes.
Yeah. So
where were you last night?
Where was I last night? I was hanging out with my best friend, Mr. Richardson, and we went to a play at the Atlas Theater on H Street. For those of you that think that the Atlas District is a new gentrified name, it is not. It was one of the movie houses. You had the Atlas and you had the Senator. That's down on Minnesota Avenue.
The E Street.
Well, this is way back.
Oh, pre-E Street.
Way back in the day. This is
like I say, born in D.C. but not raised here.
This is where our people got to go to the movie theater. So we went to go see a wonderful play called Marie and Rosetta, and it is the story of Rosetta Tharpe,
Sister Rosetta Tharpe.
Sister.
Badass guitar player.
Badass guitar player on the gospel scene who shook her hips and went on into a little rock and roll. And what most people, if you don't know the history or her background, and a lot of it I didn't know.
Mm-hmm.
it's an introduction into Black queer life on the road because Marie, they eventually did, I believe, become some type of lovers while on the road.
Yep.
And, it's during the days of the Mahalia Jackson. So that was, one of the names that popped up. But this play, first of all, support the Atlas, support the arts.
Support the arts.
Support the arts.
All arts.
More
all
than just
arts.
the Atlas.
Yeah.
Just, support the arts. It was just an amazing time. The music was great. And it's just 4 people on stage. Really just being the focus, the 2. I don't want to give it all away, but tickets are still available. If you're a Ward, I think if you're a Ward 8, Ward 7, or Ward 5 resident, you can get discount tickets. Just check it out,
Yeah.
And I know this weekend we've got 8th Street Fest coming up, which is really, really cool. We always love that. I'm going to be hanging out with Molly.
Always fun.
Y'all
Always
come
fun.
down and get some T-shirts.
Yeah,
One
come down and say hi.
Yeah, but that is what my
Spread
favorite
love.
thing of the week was.
Fantastic.
Enjoying that.
I want to go see that. I do want to go see that.
I mean, it was just so dope. It was just great.
nice.
But
Very
it was so funny. I was telling you this story earlier, so I was gonna embarrass Mr. Richardson there because Andy Shalal was there, and Busboys and Poets Southeast will be opening. They're on the construction.
All
But how crazy we were talking that literally everybody that it was on that corner of 5th and K Street where Busboys and Poets, I think it's a Chipotle, Capital One Bank, Ace Hardware, because of gentrification, were basically forced out of that building.
Mhm.
How do you force Andy Shalal out of a building? This is Busboys and Poets. Like, there's never a dull day at Busboys and Poets. You've got good food, good atmosphere,
Yeah.
good reason to go, enjoy your time. And this dude is pushed out of his own space.
Right.
How crazy. So, yeah.
Right.
So my favorite thing of the week was running into him. He's good. He's moving across the street down at, I think, 4th and K.
Okay.
And that's
Great.
it.
My favorite thing this week, we had the return of President Barack Obama
Yeah.
to the scene. He gave a speech. He received a public service award at the University of Illinois in Champaign, Illinois, and gave a speech that was in breaking with presidential tradition. There's a tradition that former presidents do not criticize sitting presidents. They're the only people in the world who can understand the immense pressure of sitting at the resolute desk and making the decisions that are the most difficult, that nobody else can make, that only the president and his learned opinion can make. And
Yeah.
Obama was like, hell with this.
Yeah.
Let me just read some a
love
couple
it.
of choice quotes because he's
Barack.
He's Barack and he's great. And he's talking to a group of students at the University of Illinois. He says, even though your generation is the most diverse in history, with a greater acceptance and celebration of our differences than ever before, those are the kinds of conditions that are ripe for exploitation by politicians who have no compunction and no shame about tapping into America's dark history of racial and ethnic and religious division. Appealing to tribe, appealing to fear, pitting one group against another, telling people that order and security will be restored if it weren't for those who don't look like us or don't sound like us or don't pray like we do. That's an old playbook. It's as old as time. Our antibodies kick in and people of goodwill across the political spectrum call out the bigots and the fearmongers and work to compromise to get things done and promote the better angels of our nature. But when there's a vacuum in our democracy, when we don't vote, when we take our basic rights and freedoms for granted, when we turn away and stop paying attention and stop engaging and stop believing and look for the newest diversion, the electronic versions of bread and circuses, then other voices fill the void. A politics of fear and resentment and retrenchment takes hold, and demagogues promise simple fixes to complex problems. I would say that that is a very keen diagnosis of a large portion of our political ills. I'm glad that the president, the real president, is back on the scene. And, for a president who has broken as many norms and traditions as Trump has, you know what? I say fuck the old tradition about presidents not criticizing. This man is separating migrant children at the border, and there are still around 500 migrant children who have not been reunited with their families.
Correct.
by the way. So you know what? Fuck you. You should be criticized.
Yep.
And Barack Obama is one of the best and brightest voices that we have, who can speak articulately to not just the negativity in our politics, but the aspirational quality of the American experiment.
And it's like he just pulled the speech out of his coat jacket like this. How y'all doing this afternoon? Let me read this to you.
Almost like he's a gifted orator or something.
Yeah,
like
I mean,
that,
the man. We enjoy Barack, and we're like, he's still our president. You know, we wish he would come back. It's because we had 8 years of a man that could look us in the eye and speak.
Yeah.
And he was,
Honestly.
I'm going to speak to you, and I'm going to speak honestly. I'm going to speak to you, and I'm going to speak honestly. And the day that I decide to wear this light tan suit, you're going to get over it because I look damn good.
You look good in a suit.
You see my woman? You see my kids? How y'all like me now? So, shout out to Barry.
I think that brings to a close another rollicking episode of dctbd. It's too bad that Marcus could not join us. I know he was taking care of some business over at his mother's place, and so Marcus, I hope everything has gone well, and you are missed. You are missed as always.
With his suede James Evans tool belt on.
I know. Thanks to Nick behind the board,
Production.
making us look good.
You better make me look good. Put the skinny lens on. Lift my boobs up.
There we go. All right, that's DCTBD for another week. We'll see you next Monday, 8 p.m.
Peace.
Same bat time, same bat channel. Out.